1 versus 1 between rtwfroody, starting here with Rovers and a Guardian Commander, and he's going against izirayd as tanks. And izirayd is gonna start with Kodachis here. And rtwfroody wondered how you would counter Kodachis as Rovers. He requested this replay. So my best choice is either surprise enemy with a single Scorcher. Like if a single Scorcher can just get close and chase down the Kodachi and just stay close all the time, it will beat it. But it's also recommended to use a combination of like one dart and one Scorcher to counter the Kodachi. And scouting here is important. Let's see, like he hasn't spotted this yet. It's a bit tricky, like knowing when you're facing Kodachis or not. Like this is the first time he scouts an enemy, and look how he goes in. Like if he goes straight in against Kodachi and izirayd isn't paying attention, he could get it. But the Scorcher is staying away with his default AI here, so it's keeping the distance, which can be good. Yes. But this is a bad position if you're trying to chase down. You can suicide a dart like this, you get a slow. Preferably you would get 2 slows. But yeah, you barely catch it up. You need to get like 2 slows and be closer with the Scorcher to deal with in this way. And now you just have a low health Scorcher and a dart to defend against 2 Kodachi, and this is really bad position. You should be moving your commander here now, it's just idle here. Like move it here, you need to protect this. And you're moving the dart here. And yeah, now you're kind of trying to chase it. Like you can't really chase a Scorcher, a Kodachis. So you have to give up much earlier in order to like defeat a Kodachi. And you have to use your Scorchers in conjunction with darts. It's tricky to get right. Like if you mismanage it, you're gonna lose either the dart first without slowing the Kodachis, or you're gonna lose the Scorcher first with having the darts being too late. And at this position you should run it down, but yeah, you stop a bit. You're too hesitant with your micro here. Like you should have finished off this Kodachi, and your commander, he's still going forward here. Maybe you think you could have stopped it. With good micro you could have stopped it, but yeah, it's risky. And now your factory is alone without any support here. And if your micro is good here, you should just drive around immediately and go to close range against a Kodachi. But no, you try to chase it at full range instead, so that's pretty bad. Now look, a full slow on this Kodachi, but now you don't have any follow-up with the Scorcher nearby, so yeah. And here comes the next Scorcher. So yeah, and again, you didn't manage here, you managed almost intercepted, but then you turn back again. You can't really use fight micro with Scorchers against Kodachis. You have to manually micro them all the time, because Scorchers on fight move will try to skirmish against Kodachis, and that means they're gonna stay at range against Kodachis, and that is something you really don't want. Meanwhile, izirayd has been expanding, but he has forgotten to build energy, so he can't really use his metal. But yeah, now with 2 Kodachis you can easily take down a Lotus turret, no problem. Yeah. You get a slowdown, which means you're able to finish off a Kodachi. So yeah, just having darts, 1 or 2 darts around, even next to Lotus turret, can help a lot to be able to fend off Kodachis. And this Kodachi barely escapes. And yeah, izirayd has managed to make some energy now. He realized his mistake and he's gonna be far ahead after that. So yeah, it's kind of snowballing out of your way. You have all this forward expansion, but no turrets. Yeah. You have, I would recommend just like practicing in like, take a body and practice against Kodachi micro here. Like at this point you have too few Scorchers to actually defend against Kodachis. A pretty good combo, but this map is sort of big, is to make rippers and fencers. They're a pretty good combo that can push out. But at this point you have basically lost, as you couldn't defend this expansion. Like, maybe like if izirayd has just stayed at his base, but yeah, he hasn't, so you basically lost now. But yeah, I would recommend that you just get a buddy or someone to exercise with, to practice with, and try to get the Kodachi micro right. Like, the thing is, with a dart and a scorcher, you should beat a lone Kodachi. And once you beat the first Kodachi, that means you can keep the Kodachi numbers low. And that means you can expand more safely, make some few Lotus turrets, or even switch to fencers and rippers and push through the enemy expansion with those. So after that you have a bit of options, but yeah, if you snowball out of like in this way, you're gonna have a bad time against Kodachis. So yeah, here's a Kodachi, it's gonna be catched. But yeah, the Scorcher are still pretty far behind, so you still lose 3 darts in that situation. You're gonna be able to like chase down that, but yeah, you're gonna take too much damage, basically. On the other hand, Kodachi can't really chase Scorchers either, so yeah. If you can get the Scorchers chasing if you can get the Kodachis chasing your Scorchers, that's a good position, but yeah, you're gonna have to contend with Welders as well. Like, yeah, you killed 2 Kodachis there, pretty nice. If you're forcing the Kodachis to chase you, you can kill them. Well, they're gonna take a lot of damage, and with the approach there. Yeah. So a Kodachi on fight command beats a Scorcher readily. You basically have to have very precise micro to be able to counter Kodachis. So yeah, as I said, I recommend you go into a battle with someone and you ask them to like send in a few like Kodachis against you. Like, preferably one-on-one. And then you try to like beat them with Scorchers, single Scorchers. Like, you can ask them to just drive the Kodachi straight, and then you can just try to intercept it and get as close as possible while the Kodachi is driving straight. And that's a pretty good way to like get confidence that you can beat Kodachis if they're mismicroed. And then if you want to be a little bit safer, you have like a dart and a Scorcher, and you always try to like shadow the Kodachi even when the enemy is microing it, and so you're always hitting the dart and the Scorcher, so they're always entering the range of them at the same time. But yeah, in groups like this, when you're behind, yeah, it's really hard to deal with Kodachis like this. Like, especially when the enemy have large numbers. Like, Scorchers, darts become almost useless in those instances. And then you have to rely on either pure Scorchers or switch for like Rippers or something. But Scorchers and like Lotus turrets are still decent if you have a similar amount of mass in both like groups that you're facing off against. Yeah, this battle is gonna go on for like 86 minutes, so rtwfroody said I didn't have to cast the whole game. But yeah, if we pause the game and take a look at the stats, you can see here that you were pretty even in the beginning, but then izirayd started to get ahead. izirayd took a while before it could actually use its metal ball. But yeah, getting that first Kodachi kill is so important. Like, the more Kodachis there are, the harder they are to deal with, and you have to probably switch to like Rippers or something once there's like 5 running around. Scorchers can still work decently if you just can intercept them. It's tricky micro basically. Like, either you want to kite the Kodachis so that the Kodachis are driving into you, but that's only in defense. But on the other hand, that's in defense or offense. If you force the Kodachis to save you, you're in a good spot. But against larger groups, you can basically only use like kiting Scorchers But against small numbers, yeah, I would recommend using one dart and one scorcher, and then be sure to micro them real well so that you go into range of the Kodachi and stun the dart and follow up immediately with the scorcher. And once there are 2-3, yeah, you have to be even more careful, and maybe you might have to stop using darts and rely on lotus turrets or rippers. Yeah, it's a tricky matchup. I would recommend you practicing it in like a calm 1v1 with someone you know. So you can practice like killing unattended Kodachis that are just running straight, and you intercept them and you stay as close with a single scorcher as possible, and then you try to like micro against. You and your buddy try to micro against each other, so the enemy can like try to dodge the dart, and while you are trying to get the dart shot and have the scorcher really close by to actually get that kill. And the first Kodachi kills are really what makes the difference between snowballing or not. Also, fences are sort of decent if you have like scorchers. I mean, fencers, rippers are pretty good combo still, so it depends. You can use fencers are decent if you have like scorchers or darts around them. So it's also something you can use instead of lotus turrets, but they will die to a big group of Kodachis if they're low. So yeah, those are my tips for you, and good luck and have fun.